life companies, and they're looking at combing the tire kicking, and they're going to take their time because they are cautious, and we want them to be cautious. So you're going to see a lot of foreign ownership increase in the United States, probably a double or tripling within 3 to 5 years, and that's going to be how they're going to save themselves from this meltdown. I think you're going to see governments completely backstop every bank in the world. Deposits, bank loans will be backstopped because otherwise the credit is not flowing. The patient has no blood in its bloodstream, and everything is grinding if it hasn't already to a halt. So nothing short of a very draconian, massive global government bailout will do the job. The consequence of not doing the right thing quickly enough is going to be pretty catastrophic financially for Americans, Canadians, Europeans, but it will mean revolutions in China and other countries. China has to create 55,000 jobs a week to keep its employment levels the way it is. And China's also taken a huge haircut because China was the largest single shareholder in Freddie and Fannie, and is one of the largest T-bill holders in Saudi Arabia. So they've all taken a hit. They still have money. They're going to have to pull their weight, and they're going to have to do things as well. We want them all to be okay. Trust me. Trust me on that. My opinion as to, and I wrote about it today in my column blog, my opinion about what has happened is it is a total abysmal regulatory failure based on an ideology embedded in the Bush regime that did not properly supervise mortgages, lending, borrowing, and certainly didn't have its hands around the derivative things. And that's really what brought us to this. It's the derivatives. It's these credit default swaps. And basically, to tell you what that is, AIG went down because it had done this and shouldn't have. And I think a lot of people will go to jail over this in that company and should. But basically, AIG, huge, biggest insurance company in the world, and operating in 103 countries with 106,000 employees. But they had one division in London, 377 or 375 people, and they wrote derivatives business. They wrote so much derivatives business without any of the normal industry, insurance industry, capital and asset backing to the bet they were making. They sold so much they took AIG down. AIG took Lehman's down because AIG offloaded some of this stuff. So basically, what we had is 377 people who saw a loophole and were working in an insurance company. And insurance companies are the most regulated financial institutions in any developed country. And so the equivalent of, this is what happened, the equivalent of some carpetbagger going to Florida selling everybody homeowners insurance in case of hurricane and hurricane coverage and having nothing to back it up. And when the hurricane comes, there's nothing to pay to replace your home. That's exactly what this was. And the fact that it happened inside an insurance company is completely unforgivable. These people were making an average of $2 million a year. The first third of premium they would write. So for instance, they would say, we will guarantee that bonds will not fall against T-bills. That's what this instrument is. We'll take $22 billion worth of that bet. And you give us a premium of $400 million. They pocket the $400 million. The 377 people will get 1/3 of the premium income, personally. And there was the bet. So they'd say, well, no problem, AIG. We'll lay it off. We'll lay it off on Lehman's. They'll take $10 billion and they'll take whatever and so on. And this is what's happened. And so what's happened is the people that were on the wrong side of the bet can't pay the people that were on the right side of the bet. And everything's grinding to a halt. That's basically it. And the estimated figure is 42 trillion, which is roughly the size of the entire global economy. Warren Buffett warned about this 2 years ago. He called it the weapon of mass destruction. He said derivatives are going to be a nightmare scenario. And he was right. It got to a certain point, the tipping point was AIG. They had so much money bet on the wrong side of the bet, and they brought down all these other people with it. So I think we will get out of it. I think it will politically, as someone mentioned, a cocktail party. Till the November 4th election, the markets are going to be really yucky, but I think the markets are going to be sloppy because when I talked to floor traders who were quite ashen as they came out of the New York Stock Exchange building last week when I interviewed them, they said that October 1st was the redemption notification date for people that had